Hello, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. Let's get some lights on this thing. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I'm here for my Friday Live, and I hope I'm going to grab a few of you here. If this is something you don't catch live, if you would let me know if there are better times, that doesn't mean I'll do them, that would work for you, or if you actually just prefer to catch it later. I'd love to hear where you're coming from. Say hi when you pop on. And for those who are catching YouTube, I will have this on there before long. And thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. I'd love to see your photos on my Facebook page, Just a Little Ink. And so just kind of things that you do, I'd love to see. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of get going. I am going to flip over here, see if I can get stuff moving. And let me move this on the other side just because it's not going to help you any. This is it's kind of tiny, but if you can zoom in on it, it is my blog, which I need to update. And you can order anytime, justalittleink.stampinup.net. And just as a quick shout out, Stampin' Up is doing free shipping on orders in the United States of $75 or more. And you can go to my website, that is justalittleink.stampinup.net, and place that order if you choose. And I would love to send you a thank you note. So let's get going. I've got a fun card idea, and I've got a few other options. I think this would make a great card gift. But using the Wild Bunch, which if you spend $75, you can choose, as long as it's available, from the product of the month selection. It's a $5 purchase for this if you're spending $75. It gives you that option. You don't have to do it, but it is a really, really cute stamp set. So simple supplies. I've got just a few things. This is Lemon Lime Twist. It's my card base, 5.5, 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4, which I'm just going to go ahead and fold over, grab my bone folder, and get that ready. And got a couple things we'll do with that, which is kind of fun. And then I've got a couple of things here. I've got some Peaceful Pine, which is one of our brand new in colors. It really pairs nicely, actually, with this particular Lemon Lime Twist. And then a little tiny sliver, 1/2 inch by I think 2 1/4 of our gray granite. And then some basic white. A 1/4 sheet for the inside, just shy of 4 by 5 1/4. And then I've got a piece that is, let me tell you here in a minute, this one is 2 1/8 by 3 3/4, I believe. That's going to go for my little image. And so I'm going to grab these. These are all photopolymer stamps. That's what Stampin' Up sells. No longer do we do anything else, no red rubber. And I'm going to change this one up a little bit. I had wondered what this little bush almost looking thing is. And actually, I need to grab something. So we're going to pause for just a minute while I go and grab it, which I hate doing, but we're going to get that going. I hate doing a blip in the middle, but I needed my Lemon Lime Twist ink. So what I'm going to do is take this part out of the center and hook up my kind of leaves. Because we're going to be using the koala, I think it'd be kind of fun to, be helpful if I was inked a little better, but do you ever have that problem where you've got it not lined up as well? We'll fix that when I have a little more vision. I'm just kind of coming in and using this as my background stamp. Just repetitively stamping. And I want, oh, that's probably good. So I'm going to set that out of the way. Go ahead and clean up my stamp. And we'll do that after a while. So I've got just a kind of a basic background, and then I'm going to, wanted to share with you, you could do square image, in which I've got a sample that I'll share that is doing that, but I wanted to use the phrases and frames, mostly the frames. Sarah Douglas, the daughter of our co-founder and the current, and I'll be sad if I don't remember this right, but I believe she's our CEO, had shared in a video kind of the beauties of this, and it was very inspiring. And so I want to kind of share that these dies, these ones from the phrases and frames, the frames have dies that can be used with the impressions folder. And the impressions folder, or impressions, my goodness, can't remember nothing. But you love it when you do that way. The impressions plate. It's rubbery, so it doesn't feel like a plate, but it's an impressions plate. Just really pops the images of these dies. And so they're definitely very detailed. And so I'm going to line it up on and die cut. It's a two-step process. So I'm going to line it up and run it through just with my 1, 2, and 2 number 3 plates. Those are our cutting plates. Run it through. You know, I've had a few of you asking me about if I had used the impressions plate, and I haven't used it a lot, but I think it's going to be something that you're going to want to be doing. So I'm going to open this up. It comes this out, excess piece, because I cut my piece of paper to fit this die. And then I'm going to grab my Stampin' spritzer, because it does best if it's a little wet. So I've got a Stampin' spritzer with just water. I'm going to set on the side just so it's not spraying everywhere that you see. Okay. Then I'm going to pull out my plate, lay it down. So I've spritzed just a light misting of water onto there. Then I'm going to grab my impressions plate, lay it on top, and then I need that number 4 plate, which is normally used with our embossing folders. And then I'm going to run that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And that's the only time I'm going to use the machine. So then we'll set this out of the way. Kind of get these things going here. All right, so when I do all of that, it's just amazing the difference. I should show you what it's like. And then what I do, because it's just easier, is I just kind of tap it on the table. And you can't see very well, but it's very embossed. It's very pillowy almost. So I'm going to set that out of the way. Okay, and then we can be letting that kind of dry a little bit. So, now if I didn't lose all my parts and pieces, we'll be good. Okay, so we've got our base. We have our frame, which is drying, inside piece. I've got this piece of paper. Let me see if I kept what just came out. That would be, you know, too easy, right? Well, it's very similar in size. I don't know what I did with it. I'm going to grab the koala just because I think he is so stinking cute. And I'm going to line him up in the center of my, and I'm going to move my camera down just a little closer. There we go. I'm going to line him up, and I'm using basic gray ink. I find the basic gray actually does really well. There's a lot of our colors that work really well with our Stampin' blends, and basic gray happens to be one of those. And so I'm going to quickly stamp. If you're worried about impressions not coming in as well, you can use one of our Pierce mats. All I've done is cut this in half, so it's the same pierce mat we've had. I just have cut mine down for videoing use. And I just find it's a little easier. So I don't want it too close because I'm going to stick that cute little party hat on him. So I'm wanting midway here. So there's my koala. And then I want to grab that party hat. And I've seen a lot of people with this particular image cut out the party hat. You don't need to though, because you can have it set on the head and then color it so that it's not added to and covering up his cute little hairs that are coming up. And so then, oh, one more thing before I move on. We're going to color that. This little strip, there is a happy birthday greeting. And I'm going to be using the inside image for from the frames and phrases, but I liked the straight kind of happy version. And this is, I'm going to stamp right in the middle of that gray granite in basic gray. So, and then we'll set that aside. All right, so we got all our parts stamped. Said it's a pretty quick idea I have for you today. And so we got this here. Then I've got some Stampin' blends. I'm going to take my lemon lime twist. All of our blends come in two colors, a dark and a light, or I shouldn't say two colors, two tones of color. So I'm going to start with the dark, which is my go-to. And I'm just going to kind of do the darker on the left. And then I'm going to add the light. And so let me know if you kind of do dark to light, if you go light to dark, if you flip between the two. I mean, it's not a have to do it either way. And then I'm going to come in, I'm only going to use the light of our Peaceful Pine, but I want to put just a little bit of that for the pom-pom that's at the top of his party hat. Just kind of makes him set out. He's really cute that way. And then I've got some gray granite, dark and light, and I'm going to start with the dark for his little nose here. And then I'm only going to add a few other places. I'm going to kind of do some highlight. So I'm going to put it up into here and kind of just to separate some of the color, just to have a little tone going on. Okay, and so then I will grab the light. And I notice on mine, I probably need to replace mine. I'm going to use the brush tip. I typically use the bullet tip, but my bullet tip on my light is not got as much ink in it as the brush tip does. So I'm going to try to be careful not to get too far over there. And then I'm going to blend a little across the nose just to let that kind of slide through. And then come in here. And I'm going to leave his belly with a little bit of an opening. I have an idea that I did, and I thought it worked out pretty well. So then I'm going to come with the color lifter. Color lifter's clear, there's nothing on here. And I'm just going to swirl a little into here, which kind of helps that all to kind of blend a little and still leave a little bit of a white spot. And I'm going to grab Barely Blush. It's another one of our brand new in colors, just to get a little bit on the inside of his ear. And then I forgot one thing, which is kind of important. So I'm going to grab again that light gray, gray granite, come in along the edge of his ear. I don't want all of that to be I don't want it all to be blush. So there we go. So quick, simple coloring makes kind of a cute little guy. And then it's a matter of taking my frame and attaching it to my koala here. So I'm just going to grab, I've got a fine tip glue holder that I've put just some of our Tombow multi-purpose liquid glue in. And I'm going to come just dab a couple little places at the top, hoping that I catch it in there. And then along the sides, because I know I have a little more room on the sides. I don't need it to be too much here, but I want a little bit to hold it. So then it's a matter of lining up and making sure that I am within the limits. See here, we're not within the limits of my frame. Here we go. See how well I did on the back side. Pretty close. Sometimes it's almost easier to do it on the back. There we go. So I've got Mr. Koala in the inset of my frame. Now I'm going to stick my frame onto the front of my card, but I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to do this one. So I'm just going to put a few of them on the back. So are you someone who uses a lot of dimensionals, or are you somebody who only uses what you have to? I used to be very sparing. I tend to use a few more. I want to keep everything popped in the middle. So I'm going to come here, put my koala on the center of my card. Get all my little dots. I find them everywhere. So I'm going to come up and stick him mostly centered. Not so much top to bottom, but right to left. And like so. And then on my greeting, I want to flag my ends. And I always wondered what that meant, but it is the term for what I've often done. Come in the center, and I'm going to snip up just a little bit, not even 1/8 of an inch. Might be 1/8 of an inch. And kind of come up from the corner to that mark where I snipped into the center. And again, repeat on the other side. And that allows it to flag. Well, if I can get it to come on this end. Okay. And then I'm going to repeat on the other side. Come in the center just a little ways, and that part is really up to you how much you want to come up. And then come into that center, and that leaves me a little flagged section. So I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the left side, and then I put a dimensional on the right side to kind of match what I've been doing with lifting. So I think I want a mini dimensional over here, just so I don't have to snip. So I'm going to grab one of them over here. And then I'm going to line up my birthday greeting right here. So how cute is that? Super, super simple. Then for the inside, I think it'd be kind of cute. I'm going to grab that same foliage, and I'm just going to come in and put, how do I want to do that? I think I just want to step some over here. Just one right in the middle. And then we're going to grab that frames and phrases, and there's a greeting for the inside that I think would be great. And it says, may your day be filled with love and happiness, which you could use for anniversary, but I think it also works really well for birthday. And so again, I'm going to grab that Pierce mat. I'm going to grab my basic gray ink, and I'm going to stamp away. So grab into here, make sure I'm centered, The beauty is if you don't like one side of what you've done, which I like that, it's easy to use the other side. We used to call that magic paper because all paper has two sides. So old-time stamper stuff. So, and then I'm going to add this on the inside of my card. Let's see if I can find my Stampin' seal. All right. Put it on the inside, and then I've got some cards to share with you. Show you the simple version of this that does not use frames and phrases, but it's a great addition. Just saying, there's always something you need, and these frames are just so cute. So let me go ahead and share with you then the simple one that I came up with earlier, and that's here. So I've just just a rectangle. Same concept as the card I just shared with you, but simple squares or rectangles that you can cut on your paper trimmer. And then I used this plaid stamp that comes in the stamp set Wild Bunch, which works really well, and you'll see that on a number of these ideas. So those are the two, one I just did, and then to share with you what makes a cute card kit. So you can do the same idea, same measurements that I had done here. You could do the same on all these other cards with the cow and with the snail and with the penguin. How cute is that? And so super simple. I hope that's something you'll try again. I'd love to hear from you, and if you have questions, reach out, and have a wonderful stamping day.